What is up, YouTube? Bobbles and Ball Cards back with another video. I want to talk about a few things, and this may shock some people, but I'm actually going to, in a way, we're going to discuss PSA a little bit, and I might actually sound like I'm defending them. So, stick around. I got a couple of things that I want to talk about, and I do have the Jeff Wilson Instagram post up regarding upchargers, but that actually isn't necessarily the discussion I want to have here. I'm just using it as reference because it has cued a lot of discussion. So, can the hobby ever make its mind up? That's the question that I really would love the answer to. Because, see, since this Jeff Wilson post, and he has a couple others that he followed up on here, going back and forth with people, discussing how, it raised the value of the card and all that. And now we get the discussion of, there's people out there making the post, no, PSA doesn't actually increase the value. The slab is just the case that it's in. And these arguments have been going on for a very long time. But there's something new that I've been seeing going around that is just absolutely blowing my mind. And it's in regards to this topic. So for years, there's been this theory that PSA controls the population of cards to be able to keep or retain the value significance on some of the cards, right? It's this manufactured scarcity by controlling the population. And that's been discussed, the Larry Bird, or sorry, not the Larry Bird, the Ricky Henderson, I don't know why I said Bird. Ricky Henderson rookie. We have the Opeachy Gretzky. What are some others? There's many cards out there. But there's always been this discussion of PSA needs to pop control in order for a card such as like the Henderson to retain its value because it's a supply and demand market. And that's, it's always been a rough debate. It's been a questionable debate. We know grading in itself is subjective. So there could be some reasoning there. But now that this upcharge debate has been rolling through, well, now the take of the hobby is that PSA is giving cards the higher grade so they can collect more money on the upcharge. Now, I just want to know, can we agree on anything here other than this sounds stupid as hell? Because the fact is, the upcharge has always been there. And so if giving the 10 to then say, well, said card is worth more money, you need to pay us more, that would have always been in PSA's best interest. But the counter argument was, well, they pop control, especially on a card like the Henderson. That way people keep sending them back in. If they get that 9, oh man, I was so close, let me crack it and send it back in. And that way they can recuperate the funds. But really, which is it? Is it they are extremely lenient so they can bump that grade up a little bit? Or are they pop controlling? Because we can't have it both ways. We can't say one day that they're pop controlling, one day that PSA sucks, this should have been a 10, but it got an 8, and then the next day say, oh, well, PSA doesn't grade properly, they're giving out 10s so they can upcharge people. We cannot have it both ways. And furthermore, I am in the population of not liking the way and the process, the procedures, the customer service, all of those things of how PSA handles their business. And I have been, I've stood on that mountain, I've died on that hill of saying I don't like that. I've complained about other things in the hobby, wax prices and all of that stuff, which people fuss and complain about, and we're going to get to that here in a second. And it amazes me of how many people want to complain, but they don't want to change anything about it. Because the simple answer is, if you really do not like the way PSA operates as a business, then the mass populace of this hobby needs to stop giving them the volume of where they are grading over 1 million cards a month. Stop bitching and start acting upon what you're bitching about. But people refuse to do that because they are so addicted to the money. They are so addicted to the flip. They are so addicted to the gamble, which we can talk about in the wax side of things. But let's be honest, there is different levels of gambling in this hobby. There's the gamble of prospecting. Will or will not the player turn out? Will Cooper Flagg turn into the next superstar of the NBA? I don't know. He didn't look too hot last night. Will I get a 10? Well, if you knew how to review your cards instead of just throwing them in a sleeve and sending them and thinking it's packed fresh, it's got to be a 10, maybe you would know the answer a little bit more. But no, everything is a gamble. Like, there is so many levels. Hell, even selling the card and will the buyer pay on an auction or something? Was it shilled? I mean, there's so many things that is realistically a gamble, including grading, and people are addicted to that so much that they refuse to change. I used PSA one time. I did not like it. It would be like me going to a restaurant, paying for what I thought was a premium meal. I get bad service. I get the food. I didn't like the food. It cost too much. My waitress or waiter sucked. I am not going back. But no, in the card industry, it's bitch, 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 and do nothing to change. But we have no answers why. And instead, we're going to change the narrative. 1 minute PSA is going to pop control. The next minute, they're going to give better grades because then they can upcharge. And then, wait. Now they're going to also give you a better grade so they can upcharge you and then buy the card from you. But before, we also had they're going to give worse grades so they can buy the card at a cheaper price and then crack it and actually give it a better grade. Like, people don't understand how stupid some of these takes sound and how they are absolutely against each other in the narrative. Which way is it? Are they going to give you an 8, buy the card off you, crack it, and turn it into a 10? Are they going to give you the 10 so they can upcharge you? Are they going to pop control so the card stays at a higher value? I mean, there's so many things that go against one another here. Just within this one topic of PSA and all of these things that they do wrong, that it is absolutely comical. And that is just the nature of where we are today in the hobby. Here is the answer for you. If you have that many concerns with PSA, there are other options to use. But I will guarantee that you're probably going to complain about them too. So maybe evaluate what the actual problem is, or make the transition, make the change to the company that fits what you feel is fair. There are other options out there. But I don't think people have the balls to stop using what they're bitching about and go with another option. Anyway, that's the topic of PSA. I want to jump over here. This was posted in the Sports Card Nonsense Facebook group. It was a guy shared about he got some of the Topps boxes and like what Steel City and David Adams and all of them are selling the hobby and the jumbo boxes for. This is something else that I have been seeing come up. Actually, my son said this is even in the TCG space now. And this is where we're at in the hobby. And I would love to hear some takes, some opinions on this. Do you agree or disagree with it? But card shop owners now are basically setting multi-level pricing if you go to buy a box of cards from them. What do I mean by that? If you go in and you want to walk out of the store with a sealed box, the price is much, much higher than if you buy the box and it's been opened, or you buy the box and in this case, this shop right here says I'm at $239 and then I take $100 off if you rip it in store. If you offer it only at the cheap price, someone else doubles the money off of your back on eBay or the scalping groups. If I entice you to rip it in store, I get to offer it at the proper price. So what these shops now are doing, and again, my son mentioned this to me. He does a lot of the Magic the Gathering stuff, and he said there's shops that are literally, they will not sell the box sealed anymore because of the reselling and flipping of wax and all this. And, you know, this is what has become the solution. So if you go into the shop, and I'm going to use this man right here, Luckiest Man Sports Cards, this shop, because I know that others are doing the same thing. If you go to his shop, he's going to charge you $239 for a box of Topps basketball. But if you open it there and you rip it there, he'll give you $100 off. Now, do you think that this is right? Now, I get the reasoning, and that's because shops feel like, well, if someone else is going to flip it on eBay, then why don't I just sell it at the eBay market price there? But how have we pushed ourselves into a position to where now there's tiered pricing on wax because the shop doesn't want to lose their cut on flipping and, you know, scalping the market. But at the same time, you know, what if I wanted to go buy the box and come home and open it and, you know, do a video on it? Well, that's now taken from my hands because otherwise I have to pay $100 more in the case of this sports card shop. I also don't trust that, like the instance with my son, he said that they're literally, when they're getting the boxes in, they're taking the cellophane off. I don't trust that because we know that the collation on a lot of these boxes today, you can tell where the hits are. You can tell where the autographs are. I mean, it's been no secret. Bowman Chrome Autos have been in the same spot for a long time now. So you literally could go in there, and if you're buying a box that isn't actually sealed, you don't know if the hits have already been taken. You know, it goes back to the old days when we used to go to the sports car shops and when hits started to becoming a thing, and we'd ask the store owner, you know, hey, do you know if the autograph's been pulled out of the box? And you'd have to trust, because a lot of times they wouldn't know, but you'd have to trust if they did know that they were even going to tell you. Because by telling you, well, that kind of kills the draw of the box, especially at the pack price it was at, right? So now we're getting this in whole box form, where we have to trust that if they are removing the cellophane, removing the seal of the box, that the packs haven't been removed. I can't believe that this is the way that things have even gotten. I mean, furthermore, you know, you look at how much these prices are going through here versus what the actual cost of I mean, it's pretty crazy. And the product is like fresh and new. But this is MSRP, and it immediately gets jacked up. And let's not kid ourselves. There is going to be a absolute boatload of this product made, and people are still charging way over MSRP. And most of the hits coming from it are not going to come near what the MSRP price is, and therefore if it's double that in a card shop or wherever, or online, you're getting double screwed because you just paid twice as much for a box that probably wasn't going to give you back the value that you paid into it at the actual MSRP price. I've also read through the comments on here, and a lot of people are saying, right here's one, their order got canceled. So you're trying to battle with all the people and the queue system and everything else, and then you place an order, you get all excited, and then oops, nope, you get canceled. It's a crazy time, folks. I'm actually so glad that I am not worrying and dealing with all of this crap anymore. I thought it would be fun to have the conversation. Truth be told, the PSA conversation doesn't bother me a bit. I ain't using them, so I don't care. The wax situation, I ain't buying it, so I don't care. But it is sad to see something that I have enjoyed for so long. I used to enjoy opening the boxes, and it's sad to see the routes that we are going down and how it doesn't seem to be improving at all. It's actually just getting dumber. It's getting worse. Now, for all of you out there that may listen and you may spend your hard-earned money and you might love to gamble and degen out on opening wax and everything else, thank you. Thank you very much, because you allow me to then go on and buy cards that I actually want and save a hell of a lot of money. So I applaud you and I appreciate you. To those that refuse to go elsewhere with PSA, you got to figure out what they're doing to you. Are they pop controlling you? Or are they giving easier grades so they can upcharge you? Are they giving you a lower grade so they can screw you on a buy offer? Or are they giving you a better grade so they can upcharge you? Because I'm telling you, reading and hearing some of these comments and conversations and all of that is absolutely comical. So I applaud you too, because it has been very, very, very humorous. Now, one final thing about the PSA. I did watch Sports Card Investigator Andy, give him a shout out. He mentions a couple things that we discussed. I messaged him last night regarding the whole deal with the way SGC doesn't do upcharges from the year 2000 to current, and how, he mentioned that kind of PSA had bought the company with the blueprint. The thing that dawned on me, though, is Collectors Universe owns both of these entities, and SGC almost acts in certain cases as like a pre-grade service, if you're following me. There are people that will send the cards in, get them graded so they can get them back quickly, get them onto the market, get them sold, but then the people buying them have zero intention of keeping them in the SGC slab, but they have an idea of what the grade is, and then they'll pop it out of the SGC slab and then probably send it to PSA, because that's the, again, it's all about the grading gamble and everything else gamble. And so then it's like, oh, well, this is a 9.5. Can we get it to the 10? Can we get the PSA 10? Because we know SGC 9.5 is just above raw, but we know now kind of what SGC said, and it has that chance at the 10, and that could make us a lot more money. So realistically, by buying SGC, they're not making just 22 or whatever it is per card with PSA. They're getting probably $40 a card, because if it had already been graded with SGC, well, they got that money too. And then if the card goes up in a 10 and it hits the upcharge level, well then hell, who knows? Everybody's a winner, right? So that was kind of a thought I had on it. I did really appreciate when I was using SGC. I appreciate the way that, it didn't matter. We could send the cards in and it wasn't any question with the newer stuff. The older stuff, yeah, there was a couple times, but the upcharges were fair. It wasn't thousands upon thousands of dollars. CGC, they have the same thing. They have some upcharges, but to be quite honest with you, they're very affordable in terms. They're not sitting here. What did Jeff say? They upcharged him $4,000 or something like that. Yeah, they're not charging you that. So anyway, that's all I got for you guys. A little bit of rambling, a little bit of fun, a little bit of topic. Comment below. Let me know your thoughts. As always, guys, appreciate you. Stay safe, stay healthy, and until the next video, I'm out.